fix that I'm trying to get resolved. So the rig blaster definitely does have added isolation in it, but I still get my computer kicking out. The issue I run in, now normally when you're doing digital modes you wouldn't necessarily run 100 watts, but even when I do CW, if I have the actual audio cable from my radio connected to my USB, it kicks out the USB sound card. Am I getting RF in my shack? The thing is it only does it if I actually have the wire connected between the radio and the sound card. I just wanted to order it initially just so I can get it done. It doesn't actually show it in the micro milliwatts per centimeter or the microwatts per centimeter squared. It doesn't show it like that. It's just a needle that shows, and then you have an adjustment, but it'll help me measure RF in the shack. So I've got a dummy load and I've got that coming so that I can try to track down to see if I'm getting, if it's just coming off my antenna when I transmit, or if I've got it bleeding through in here somewhere. So that's what's going on with that. But then this morning, I won't go into the details because it's for emergency communications. It's kind of nice that we got asked to do this. It's an exercise. It's a whole thing. Tomorrow it's going to take a half a day. Starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. It gives an itinerary of how we're going to run through this as if an event was to hit Newton that was so severe that it knocked out normal means of communication. The EOC has a truck number 55, which is a full mobile rig. It has all the normal emergency communication radios in it, but it also has a 2-meter ham radio as well. We have been assigned a simplex in case something happens to our repeater. We've also have that the EOC has. They know that they can get us on simplex on a specific frequency that we've designated to use if our repeater is down in an emergency situation. So those are some of the things that we're going to be practicing tomorrow in the simulation. And our main goal is we've got a ham going out to each of the medical facilities, the care facilities and stuff like that. The idea is that we don't want a situation where people are getting stranded at care facilities, stuff like that. So basically that's what we're doing tomorrow. So that's kind of cool. I got my little identifying jacket so somebody doesn't think I shouldn't be there when I'm walking around doing communications at the facility I've been assigned to tomorrow. So that's the plan. One of the reasons I kind of got into ham radio is I'm not a prepper, but I do not see any harm in being prepared. So with that being said, I even got a little go bag. Last year, 21 tornadoes struck Iowa all on the same day. This year, 12 tornadoes struck Iowa all on the same day. Look at the hurricane that just hit Florida just this last month. You don't know what could happen, so it's always good to be prepared. Initially, I had started with a bag this size I bought on Amazon, and this is I don't have the name of it, CV something. It's just a generic bag, but it's actually, I was able to put 45 pounds worth of gear, which is way too much. You wouldn't want to do that. It's a really good quality bag for 22 bucks, especially when you think about the fact that a go bag isn't something you're going to be using all the time. It tend to maybe have 3 days worth of supplies in it. So that's definitely going to last you 3 days easily. And for 22 bucks, it's a solid, decent backpack to get. I ended up getting a bigger one because all my gear, I've got clothes for winter, 3 changes of clothes, the bare necessity kind of clothes. All that material that is antimicrobial, wool socks, a rain suit, 3 or 4 different ways to start fire. I've got a 12 by 12 tarp, I've got paracord, I've got a nice decent knife. I even got bear mace. Now, honestly, I don't predict needing to do anything with it's not like I got this as a wilderness pack, I just got it all around pack, but bear mace can be used to protect yourself against more than just bears. One of the things I should do is actually, set up in the backyard and actually learn how to use the gear, because it doesn't do you any good to have all kinds of gear that you can't use. I also had bought these things. Now it's a little light. It doesn't take up much space, that's true. But as you see, the container can get compromised and then it's worthless and it won't keep for 5 years anyway. But it has no nutritional value. This pack here is intended to give you 1,200 calories a day. And this one has already lost the seal. It's not airtight anymore, so it's not going to last 5 years. This one's still good. I'm going to keep these in the pack for maybe another 6 months and then I'm going to toss it because it just lost this seal. And then each of these things inside are individually wrapped, so I'm hoping they'll be good for 6 months. But after 6 months, I'm going to say, being this has all lost its seal, it's probably not going to be good. But honestly, these are these SOS emergency food rations. I will never buy these again. So for just a little more space, it costs much more money, but it's not like you have to buy this all the time. I got 3 cans of tuna fish, 3 cans of nuts, and 3 bags of beef jerky. I think I figured it up, it was like 1,600 or 1,800 calories. But you actually got your proteins, you got, you know, there's some nutritional value in those items. Tuna fish, nuts, and jerky. But all those things, the jerky, I went, not all jerkies like this, but the jerky I picked out, and this is another review for another time, was like, had a 2-year expiration date. So you could literally stock your bag with 3 of each of those items. You would have more calorie intake than you get out of these SOS garbage things. It would taste better, and it has more nutritional value, and it would also last you 3 days. It's only slightly heavier and only takes up slightly more space. So I will never buy. No, don't waste your time. So that's what I did with that. Not meaning to get sidetracked, but again, that is why I got into amateur radio. It's just good to be prepared, have some clue. I've often thought about what would happen if, I mean, most of us wouldn't even know how to survive. We go to the grocery store, we get our food, we have medications that we rely on a daily basis. How many of us have a reserve of anything, even to get you through 3 days? 3 days. Are you prepared for that? 3 days. Think about it. In the last I heard, FEMA hadn't even shown up in a lot of the places there at this last thing, and it had been a week. A week. What would you be doing? What would you be doing for that time? So this isn't about being prepared for the zombie apocalypse. This isn't about that. This is about just being sensible. Kind of like why you carry jumper cables in your car, which incidentally I don't have any, and I should. Why you should have an emergency first aid kit in your car, and knowing how to use, even if it's just to the basics. And if you don't know how to use it all, at least maybe if circumstances allow, and there's somebody there that does, you've got the supplies to help aid in that situation. Again, we can't kid ourselves and think that because we have all this stuff that makes us magically prepared for any situation. Every situation is different. I could have these go bags that I'm building and not even be home when something happens, and they don't do me any good. So that's why you should probably have one in the car with at least something to take care of the situation with your car. Your car could be a shelter, but you could have an extra blanket in your car, a jug of water in your car, any of those kind of things. So back to why I'm doing this with the emergency radio. They have the emergency broadcast things that come over the phone, but I like the idea that we can listen on the repeater when a storm's coming through, and I can hear the local guys doing the storm watching. You've got your Doppler radar and stuff like that, but a lot of times storm spotters are what gets that information to the news the soonest. So again, that's why I was kind of excited about this. I think this will be really, really cool to do this event tomorrow. Alright. Time to get to work. Gotta be smarter. It's too early for me. Alright. I have a little radio here working away, so you guys can hear it all going on.
Yes, radio check. K0 WAG, go ahead. Just making sure everything sounds good on my end here. Just making sure you can read me okay. That, loud and clear. Thank you. K0, yes. I'll be signing on here in just a couple minutes, and I'll be getting everybody checked in so we know it's clear. Stand by. W0 just checking. Now this is KB0BGU monitoring. Now, to get everybody online, we'll use this frequency for the event today only. And we'll let you know when that happens. This is K0WAG and you'll see. KB0BGU clear. Morning, Kevin. I didn't hear the call sign. Thanks for checking in. That's all. This is K0WAG and I'm transmitting on 147030, the New Amateur Radio repeater site. We are going to be involved in a drill today, so let's keep this frequency clear for that use only. And the call sign will be W0WML. And if each of you would check in, I'd appreciate that. N0WML and 0MC at Newton Healthcare. E0LCW, I'm still en route. I'll be there in probably about 6 minutes. Over. Yeah, LCW. W0WML, W0YNI at AC West in the parking lot. Have you tried your HT inside yet? Yeah, I will here in about 5 minutes. Copy that. W0WML here, I heard, but I could not clarify. It's pretty scratchy. Say again. Yeah, let me turn it up a notch. Does that help out any? It's loud and clear now. I'll leave it right there then. Okay, we're ready here. I'm just sitting here waiting on everybody else.
KD0. YJI. Go ahead.
I read you loud and clear. How do you read this station?
Loud and clear.
W0ZMU, W0WML.
W0URW. ZMU was dropped off at Park Center at quarter after, but it was pretty dark in there. He may not have found a control point yet. ZMU's here.
Copy both of you. I hear you both loud and clear.
How is EOC identified? What is their identifier?
The operations center.
Good enough. This is Park Center. W0ZMU. W0WML. This is KE0LCW. Can you hear me now? I don't know why it's not answering, but you're loud and clear, Richard. Hey, thank you, Bob. KE0LCW monitoring.
Yeah. Just checking on the timeline. Be advised that the National Weather Service has issued a storm warning weather statement, and just stand by for more information on that. W0WML.
Park Center, here's Johnny.
Copy, go ahead.
Okay, I just moved location. You want to be sure head contact. Thank you. W0ZMU.
Loud and clear, W0ZMU, W0WML. I have a announcement here. The emergency phone line that the controllers will be using is only one line, so let them know that it may ring for a little bit or it may be busy, but keep trying. QSL. Patients be advised, this is a drill. This is a drill only. We just have severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service. So be vigilant and let me know what's happening, and I will get back to you as the storm progresses. W0WML. 0WML. All stations be advised that severe weather has hit Newton with 85-mile-an-hour plus winds. Damage is expected. Please inform your controllers that the scenario begins now. And again, anybody monitoring this frequency, this is a drill only. W0WML.
Kilo Echo 0, KE0LCS calling Operation Control. This is for Accurate East. We have a status report. We have severe damage to the facility. There will be a total evacuation will be required. There are currently 10 that are injured that are on transport towards Skiff.
We have total damage at Accurate East. Need 10 people transported to Skip with injuries.
Roger. Also, we will need a full evacuation.
Evacuation, copy that. VURW, W0WML.
WB0URW at Skiff. Go ahead.
Advise that report from Accurate East is total damage, severe damage. They'll need total evacuation, and 10 injuries will be needed transportation to Skip Hospital.
USL, can you advise as extent of injuries from critical to not critical?
This time,
USL. Accurate East KE0LCS, most are critical. So you're saying be prepared for 10 critical patients, correct? Roger, correct. Pass that on. WML, W0YNI, AC West.
019, go ahead.
Well, we got damage to the east wing here, and no injuries to any patients, but we will need to evacuate 12 patients due to the damage to the building.
Copy that. Damage to the east wing, and you'll need to evacuate 12 patients. No injuries at this time.
Measures on that.
Be advised that for this drill only, we will just be reporting the number of injuries and the extent of injuries at this time. It's just that, just injuries, no details.
W0, WML, KE0LCW.
KE0LCW, go ahead.
Yes, we had one injury that's been transported to Skip Hospital, and we have 9 others that need to be moved.
One injury transported to Skip, and 9 patients that need to be evacuated. Copy.
KE0LCW. KC0LCW, WB0URW at Skip. Can you advise, is the injury critical or non-critical? KE0LCW, that patient is non-critical. Over. QSL. W0WML, KE0 Juliet Eagle. Yeah, we have moved the patient ourselves by a family member to Park Center by wheelchair.
We appreciate that information. Zero NC W0 W0 WML.
So WML is there in the healthcare, right?
Advise that there will be 10 residents evacuated from Nelson Manor that will be coming to your location.
transportation, is that evac or are they being transported to skip?
The injuries would be transported to skip. The evac will be two different facilities that have the room.
QSL. And Park Center.
Deals in, you go ahead.
Yes. May I suggest that when people check in, they check in with location, because call letters refer to a list, and the location would be of great help. W0 is that in your...
All stations, when you call in, please give your locations. Thank you. W0WML monitoring.
W0WML, W0YI.
Go on, go.
You did get my scenario okay there a little bit ago, right?
I have damage to the east wing, no injuries, and evacuate 12 residents.
On that, okay, sounds good. Thank you there. W0WML, W0YI is clear list.